So guys, exactly as we have imagined, it's only been 2 days since production has begun and we are already starting to see the batches roll off the line as well as our first look into what's underneath. The Model Y Juniper has been the talk of the year. It will be the car that brings everything up another level and it will be packing every single new feature into this one vehicle, making it the best car that you can possibly buy. Now, we're not going to stretch the earlier parts of this video for very long as we have a lot to go through this time around, so if you've missed any specific parts of the Model Y Juniper and you want to go through all the details, I have an entire playlist dedicated just to the Model Y, so go check that out. That's available on the channel. So going off of the most recent update, we know that Tesla has begun production on October 22nd at Giga Shanghai with an initial build rate of 15 vehicles per day. This is done while they are preparing to ramp up parts production lines and at the same time check for quality and consistency before increasing the numbers. And all the while this is only seen taking place at Giga Shanghai, we also expect the Berlin factory to go through the exact same procedures as they anticipate for a launch later this year. Tesla has also begun allocating specific models for specific countries now that tariffs are set in place all over the world to combat forum saturation. So this means that import vehicles will be very limited for the new Model Y Juniper, and you can expect to take delivery one from a regionally built factory. And in terms of the timeline, we are expecting the same release cycle as we did for the Model 3, so Europe and China will begin late December and carry into early next year, while the US will be a few months after that. Alright, so enough of that quick summary, let's get straight into it and look at the Model Y and exactly what we have predicted. It is now rolling off the line and we are able to see a ton of new things coming along with it. Just earlier this morning in China, a user on Weibo has shared images of what looks to be the new Model Y loaded up onto a trailer, and according to people familiar with the matter, this seems to be the very first batch of production Model Ys leaving the factory and likely headed towards showrooms across the country. These vehicles were completely covered up from top to bottom to avoid any possible leaks, but as luck would put it, other users were able to share more images, but even better as it was in the process of being loaded up. In these other images here, a user was able to capture what seems to be a prototype Model Y, but in fact turned out to be one of the many production vehicles rolling off the line but covered up in the same fabric. With this picture shared, we were able to see looking through the windows that the same seat design as the refreshed Model 3 is included, which brings more bolstering, more comfort than what we currently have now. So now, even if that was all we got, this is such a big deal knowing that we are in the production stages now and they are rolling off the line. But as I was recording this video earlier in the morning, a ton more images was just revealed, so I had to redo everything again, but now we have even more and even better. About an hour in between, a user on X that goes by Billy shared 4 additional photos of the exact Model Y being test driven by engineers, showcasing all the new designs inside and out. Billy did the courtesy of blurring out all the confidential areas, leaving all the best components for us to break down. In a very clear shot of the rear end, we now see that the engineers have included some additional brake lights as precautionary measures while they leave the slight opening for the factory lights to shine through. What we see first from this image is the lights are now completely diffused from the center mount top to the sides. They are no longer showing individual LEDs as we've seen in the past. In addition to this, we are now able to see the lower light unit as we have on the Model 3. These lights will activate once the rear gate is open, meaning that we will also have the single piece integrated taillight for the Model Y. Moving on to the next image, we get a side profile of the car giving us an even better view of the rear. This reveals quite a bit of things we've missed in the previous sightings. Looking back at the taillights, we now see the resemblance of the original leak with the slight glow underneath the top portion, indicating that this would possibly bring the light bar that we have all been anticipating. Then moving on to the center, they have made a cutout for something that looks like a new replacement for the rear camera. This has been moved much higher than the current positioning to avoid all the issues we've experienced with rain. Speaking of the camera, we are also seeing a slight tint behind the housing, further confirming that there is a light source along the width of the rear. And moving down to the license plate, we now notice that they have decided to bring it back up to the trunk rather than what we have seen in Spain. so this might be the final placement of where it's going to be. Then now, flipping to the opposite side of the car, we now finally get to see the new induction wheels that will be coming with this car. It looks to be 19-inch or 20-inch compared to the 18s that come standard on the previous image. This could possibly indicate that we will be getting a different variant for China versus North America and Europe. This has been the case for previous Model Ys and Model 3s, so this is something to also look out for. Alright, so now for the very best part, we finally get the clearest shot of the front of the car, letting us see all the new changes they have made to this version of the Model Y. In this image here, we get to see what looks to be two separate cutouts for the headlight, one sitting at the top where the current light would typically sit, but then just below that, there is another much wider cutout for another light source. Now, basing this off of the Cybercab, which we have recently seen at the Robotaxi event, there looks to be a similarity between both vehicles with an entire front light bar running across the width of the car. This would then lead to renders based off of the same concept, with Dominic Brinkman leading the way with his recent render of the Model Y Juniper, which turned out to be near identical to the one we see today. With the small cutout at the top and the larger opening at the bottom, we can pretty much be sure that there will be an entire LED strip running along the front of the car, with the bottom acting as the low and high beams. And then on top of this, we got to see the bits and pieces of the interior, with them testing many aspects of the driving dynamics before launching the car. We can also see that they have an entire laptop opened up at the front seating, measuring all the data with wires hanging from the rear view mirror as well as around the car. Then looking at the driver's side of the car, you will see that they have made all efforts to cover up the dash components, signifying that there is a large change on the inside, likely the ambient lighting and a few other surprises. So yeah guys, with the moments leading up to this video, there has already been a ton of new things surfacing. In the next few days, in even the next few hours, there could be a ton more images and possibly even videos of this car. I am super stoked for all of this. I know you guys are as well. I wonder what kind of things are going to be on the inside that really differentiate it from the Model 3 and then even surpass vehicles such as the Model S and X. The Model Y is going to be a car that they pack pretty much every single feature from every other model into this car and making it the best-selling car year over year again and again. As of right now, there are probably at least 15 more vehicles rolling off the line, and there will be a ton more as they continue to ramp up. I will be following all of this like a hawk and update you guys as quickly as possible. There is a ton going on social media in China right now, which I am a part of, so there is going to be a ton more things I want to share with you. So make sure you guys stick around, hit that subscribe and that bell notification, and follow me on X at HeyJohnny. Over there you will get the latest, and you guys can chat with me, DM me anytime, and I will respond as quickly as possible. If there is anything else I've missed, anything that you guys personally want in this Model Y, drop it in the comments below. We'd love to share and we'd love to hear about it. But this should be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is John once again. Peace out.